Now, Trump's attorney accused New York's attorney general of pushing her own political agenda. James gave credit today to Donald Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, for helping to launch this 3-year investigation.
I will remind everyone that this investigation only started after Michael Cohen, his former lawyer, testified before Congress and shed light on this misconduct. And the remedies are consistent with what we have sought for other businesses that committed the same misconduct.
Joining us now is the former personal attorney of Donald Trump, Michael Cohen. Michael, great to have you here.
Good to see you.
Okay,
both.
so she gave you credit that you launched this investigation. I remember when we all do, when you testified in front of Congress and said that there was a lot of fudging of the numbers going on. Did you know the scope of it? Did you know that there were 200 false or misleading statements about his assets over the years?
There may have been 2 or 3 that I wasn't aware of, but the rest I was. And these were part of the topics that I spoke with not only the Attorney General, not only the District Attorney, but 7 different congressional committees. I mean, I just got to say, thank God for Tish James. She's tenacious, she's ferocious. She's what every single Attorney General should be like. And I give her the absolute greatest of props.
Donald Trump is at the center of a web of investigations. We can put it up on the screen just to show how many. But this investigation, what was announced today, the valuations, what it goes to, the specific image of Donald Trump, what do you think this means to him?
Well, to his image, it's a complete destruction. I mean, it's like a nuclear bomb exploded. The man has a fragile ego, which we all know. His entire life is predicated on his net worth and him portraying himself as this wonderful businessman, this massive success, this incredibly wealthy guy. And what do we know? We know that it's not true. We know that, and I've been saying this now for years, that this is an inflation of his assets and then, of course, taking them, deflating them for tax purpose. I do just want to say in your opening, you said that she's suing for $250 million. That's the baseline that she's going after. I suspect it'll be somewhere to 3 to 4 times that amount at the end of the day.
Michael, can you just take us in the room with Donald Trump when he is claiming that his apartment is 30,000 square feet, but it is clearly 10,000 square feet, but he is filling out the paperwork and claiming that it's 3 times the size. Do you or does anyone in that room tell the emperor he has no clothes? Like, what? How does he do that? What's that conversation?
Right. You don't tell the emperor that he's naked. Otherwise, you lose your job on the spot. It wasn't specific to, hey, let's just look at this. It's 33,000, square feet when it's actually 11 or 10. What he would do is he would say, my apartment is worth $375 million. So Alan Weisselberg and we would write down that number in red, and then we would use that in order to back into the number that he wanted, which was a number to increase his net worth from literally, and this is true, I sat in the office once, he went from raising it to $6 billion, no, I'm actually richer than that, brought it to $7.5 billion, to 9 to 10 in a period of 60 seconds. He's made more money than anybody in that short span of time, ever.
And while that's happening, you're just watching him, you're just sitting there going, okay, sure.
Listen, I was tasked to figure out how to back the numbers using his assets into what he wanted. There was no, and there is no telling him no. And that's also a problem that we saw during his administration.
We are familiar, obviously, with the Trumps here, with the Trump Organization, Alan Weisselberg over the last couple of years. Jeffrey McConey, who is he? How integral is he?
So Jeff McConey is an assistant controller. How integral is he? As I would like to say it, so Donald Trump, if we were going to put this into perspective, Donald Trump is the bank. It's the president of the bank. Yeah. And then you have the branch manager would be Alan Weisselberg, and Jeff McConey would be the teller. That's how it worked. So whatever you had first went to Alan. Alan would give it to Jeff to book, but it would have to be signed off by Donald in order for this thing to become effective. So that's why when I always say that Donald knew everything about everything going on at the Trump Organization.
How about his kids? Because one of the things that the New York Attorney General said was that they were basically involved. Let me read it to you. As executive vice presidents of the Trump Organization, Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump were also aware of and knowingly participated in this scheme. The three children were intimately involved in the operation of the Trump Organization's business. Do you know what that means, that they knowingly participated?
Yeah, so, again, it's a small family company. This is not, IBM or Google or Meta. This is the Trump Organization. It's a small, very close-knit. There were, other than them, 9 additional executive vice presidents, myself included. So, yes, they were intimately aware of everything. And if they weren't intimately aware, they became intimately aware when it was their need to use the personal financial statement for either a project, to get a loan, for insurance, et cetera.
They would do the same thing. They would inflate things.
Well, no. We're talking about the Trump, Donald's personal financial statement. I've never seen their personal financial statements. It wasn't relative to my job.
Now, according to this filing, there was obviously an effort to cover all of this up. Tish James here, according to the writings, to cover up the scheme. Trump would tell his agents to not put anything in writing here. In fact, his tax attorney put in writing, don't put this in writing, saying, please use fresh email when communicating with appraisers so we avoid the extent of possible email change. To what extent there was it just, we know what we're doing here is wrong?
Right. So, again, this is typical Donald Trump mob-like tactic. He learned all this early on, and he always refused to have a computer, and especially an email address. So these type of communications are always between other people and the person that he's intending the result. When it came to the, appraisals, this was all set up, again, between Alan Weisselberg and whether it was Cushman or anybody else. And that's one of the reasons why Alan Weisselberg was brought into this conversation today with Tish James.
If these allegations are true, how did he get away with it for so long?
It's a great question. The system protects the rich. Donald Trump has always set himself out as someone who's willing to fight to the death, especially if it has to do with a legal issue. And you saw he did the same with Schneiderman, with Trump University, and so on. He will fight you to the death. And a lot of the prosecutors, Southern District of New York, when they dropped the 12 sealed indictments, Alvin Bragg by not going forward early on. That's why I say Tish James is exactly the type of prosecutor, the type of attorney general that New York, and actually all states, need desperately.
Well, it's been 3.5 years since you testified before Congress and told them that this was happening. And now today, this filing from the New York AG. Michael Cohen, thank you.